You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffins, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. I am Ryan Uffins and excited to have Ashton Oborn on the podcast today. Ashton, we first met at the Hunt Expo in person. We had met on the socials before that, and I think the initial introduction came because I think you were spying on some of Dustin's hunting locations that looked very similar to some of yours.
You know what? Yeah, I was like, oh, that looks really similar to mine. I might as well just reach out to him and say, hey, I think that's the same area. Send me a location and we'll just go from there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that you're right. I know. I was thinking back today. I'm like, I don't remember how I followed you or started following you.
I'm guessing Dustin maybe had reached out. I know he'd been doing some of that on his social. He's got a pretty decent following in the outdoor hunting space. So I'm guessing that's probably how the connection came through there.
Right.
But it was fun. It was fun. I'm glad that you saw us as we were coming. I think we were coming down the escalator or something. You were like, hey. And
yeah, you were talking to PSE or PSC.
Yeah, Trevor Thompson and Josh Evans.
Yeah, you were talking to those guys.
Yeah, those guys, they're good dudes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do another podcast here with Trevor pretty soon. We're going to talk about the politics of hunting here in the state and how that's changing. But anyway, so after you and Dustin got to talking, kind of figuring out what was going on, we made the connection, and then this year we were able to get out on the mountain for a couple days together.
Yeah.
So
great time.
Yeah. We gave it a whirl, man. That was fun. When we went out, you were there. You got there a day before Dustin and I showed up, and you got hit with that storm that came through. What was that like?
So headed up there, I was driving up there after work and everything, and I could see there was a bunch of clouds obviously in the distance. I'm like, oh man, there's been some weather. If anybody, obviously people that are listening to this podcast know, weather and elk, it just makes a good combination. Got up there, it was super muddy, and I was like, oh crap. Like Dustin had talked about bringing his trailer up. I was like,
It got a little western when we got up there.
It did. It was, but hey, you jumped in, you took care of it, and got her done. But no, it was good. There was a lot of rain the day before. The first morning that I was able to hunt was amazing. Heard some bugles, went in after some elk. Morning was nice. It was nice and cold. Sun comes out, and I just was like, oh, this is nice. This is nice and warm. And then I'm on my way back in to camp, and I can just feel the storm coming. Like I look up, I see the clouds. I'm like, oh crap, this is.
As Dustin and I were driving in, we were looking. I was like, matter of fact, Dustin and I were on the phone. He's like, man, I hope it's not dumping on Ashton up there.
Yeah. So I get back to camp. I'm like, oh, these guys are probably going to be getting here soon. So I'm going to head down off the mountain to where we planned to camp. And all of a sudden,
Tent City, right?
Yes, exactly.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here. I'm like, okay, fog rolls in. And I haven't seen the fog this bad, like ever up there. So I'm driving down. You drove it. You saw there's big switchbacks with 1,000+ feet cliffs off the one side.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I better go slow. I don't want any truck to come up and one of us turn off and bump off of here.
Yeah. Well, I would say if you're coming around that corner and the fog and rain and muddy like it is, if you're going to hit
Mhm.
each other, just hit each other. Don't try and swerve out of the way.
Right.
Because yeah,
Seriously, I
that drop is pretty gnarly, and it's straight. I mean, it's like it's straight down.
oh yeah, it's
So yeah, that fog you were saying, it came in like you couldn't see anything.
I could probably see 10 yards in front of my car. And well, luckily enough, like after you come up from that big turn, that big corner that we were talking about,
Yeah.
it gets up kind of into the more flatter section up there. And I came around a corner and there was a truck sitting there coming my way. And I was like, oh crap. Like if you're moving, 10 yards is not far at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, um, how long have you been hunting up there? Your family? How long has your family been hunting up there?
So my dad was like, obviously, my dad's a first generation hunter of his family.
Okay.
So it's not like we have generations and generations who have been hunting. But what's funny is he actually, very similar situation, got invited by one of his friends to go up to this spot and go hunting. And I was probably 2, 3 years old the first time that he ever went up there. And so that was he's been hunting up there for 20, almost 25 years.
Wow.
So yeah, and me personally, the first time that I went up there was with a guy. I was probably 11 or 12 on this kid's youth hunt. It was early September, gets to hunt with a rifle and went up there, shot a bull. And I remember being 11 or 12. I was a little kid. Like physically, I was a little kid. And I remember going in there and hiking back in after they had shot the bull. We had horses and packed in, and they they ended up going back there. I hung out with this older the old dude in the family at the time. I got to just sit and hang out with him for a little bit as they went in and got the bull and came back. And I got to hang out on the horse. I remember being like, "Holy crap, this is crazy!" I was so tired, exhausted, and then I didn't go back up there until I drew my youth tag when I was 15. Yeah, 14 or 15. I drew that youth tag and went up there, and it was a lot of fun.
So tell me about that hunt, your youth tag hunt.
So I'm not proud of this. It was a rough go. Like I said, I was a little kid. I'm not stout. My brother's a lot bigger than I am,
Ashton,
still to
dude,
this
hey,
day.
real quick, don't beat yourself up because I'm not a little kid
Uh-huh.
and I've still yet to get it done. I kept saying this was the year, and this year just punched back harder than ever before.
Hey, I can attest to that. I haven't had many days on the mountain, but I've got a new baby, as you know. So my life hit me pretty hard this year. So
You're at a different life stage right now, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I
you're
get it. I've been there. I've done that. I mean, we talked like I coached baseball. Like no one in my family hunted, so I was coaching my kids, going to either baseball or soccer or basketball or tennis or whatever it was. So I
yeah.
get it. I kind of hit like that midlife crisis, and I was like, I got to figure out something to do. And I've always loved the outdoors, which is what turned me onto this when my boy pushed us to go get bows. But anyway, so but your first hunt up in that area, because having been up there and experienced it, I
Uh-huh.
mean, there's some areas that aren't too bad, and there's some areas that are like good night.
Yeah, it's rugged country for sure if you get into the wrong spot or just happen to pick the wrong path. Like that's the one thing I know this area fairly well. I've walked through it a lot, and
Which I did both coming and going on the one that me, you, Dustin went out together.
and honestly, I ended up seeing the path that you took, and I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't think that I just sent him into this spot, and was like, oh well, we got to send someone in there. No, I truly, because I we ended up walking out that way, and it's
Yeah.
just you know how it is. It's those 6 foot, 7 foot tall little pine trees that are just regrowing after a fire, and then all the deadfall. And so it's like this super thick. No, but what's the weirdest thing is how much elk sign is in there.
Oh, it was
Like,
it was insane. I was like, we're in the right area, but the crazy thing for me on the way back out, and because we kind of got split up because we kind of divided up. And I mean, we're completely getting off your story right now, but we're getting into
oh,
it, so we may as well we'll come back to it. But we heard an elk. Dustin didn't hear it. You heard it. I wasn't too far off from you where we had kind of split up. I mean, at that point we were probably, I don't know, quarter, half mile in.
yeah,
And I'm like, I hear the elk. We still had the ability to communicate. So I was like, yep, I heard it. And anyway, we just kept pushing through, and then it decided not to play.
yeah. And that's the thing about up there is obviously, as you've heard, but multiple stories from Dustin and I, they're either there to play or they're not. And I'm kind of
Those
fallen.
days they were not there to play.
No, no, except for us, right? We were playing,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
but
we got to one point where I'm like, I think we're all calling each other.
yeah, oh, Dustin, he's a good caller, dude. Like
He's yeah.
I legit. What was funny is I thought he was real. I thought he was a real bull. He thought I was real, and it was just funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
I had seen him when I think I was like the first one back there, and I kind of went up on that ridge a little bit, and I saw him
Uh-huh.
coming in and bugle, and I'm like, I'm going to play with him. And I think you thought it was reversed when as you were coming down, you thought my calls was Dustin and his was the actual bull.
Yeah. And so I was like, because like you said, we had communication. I didn't know exactly where you were, and I'm like, Dustin's like, oh, I'm almost there, and so I'm like, hear this bugle, and I'm like, oh, you've heard there's just a slight difference between a real bull and a bugle that we use, and it's like, okay, I know this one's got to be Dustin.
He's
This
good.
one, and I was like, there's a chance. I'm like, there's a chance. And Dustin even messaged like after I bugled, let it out, and he like, I think we got a real one. And I'm like, I think that might be. And so I just kept going with it, and I thought you were him, and he thought he thought I was the real bull, and oh, that was funny.
Yeah, I was, and then I saw you start creeping down over the corner, and I was like, these guys.
You're like, come on, you young dumb.
But no, dude, I tell you what, like, I mean, you joke. I think you're being a little bit too rough on yourself because you know a lot about that mountain up there in the area, and I learned that was the first time I've ever been out actually calling because the other places I've been hunting over the years, I haven't called. They weren't really talking. And even this year, I feel like we were out there like 10, like, I mean, we were up to the end of it, right?
Uh-huh.
To when it ended. Um, but I just feel like it was like 7 to 10 days too early.
Right.
You know, even the other area that Dustin and I went up to on the final day, and that is another experience in and of itself.
I heard.
um, but no, I learned a lot from you guys being able to call, listen, like what to look for, the signs, because like I hadn't been in an area where there was a lot of elk. Where the place that I've been going hunting, I mean, I told you, I've said it's just here in Bountiful. Like there's no sign of rub. Like they kind of come in and they get out. But here you're able to look at the sign and see, you know, like, you know, fresher droppings. So it was really, while I haven't punched the tag yet, I'm not giving up on it. We're going to go out on the extended and see what we can figure out. I know my boy, he was bummed. He with work and stuff, he couldn't get going. He wants to go up Parley's and see if we can find something up there on the extended. But um, there's a lot to hunting elk, and it's not easy. And I think at one point we had another guy that was going to come and join us up there, and he was like, "Well, my buddy's up there and says they're not talking." They were talking. They wouldn't engage. They would communicate, and then they're like, "I don't care enough. I'm not full of piss and vinegar enough to bother to come down and have a battle with you." But we were sitting down. We said over like between the two of you, your families, I think it's probably the experience is like 40 to 45 years experience up there. And when we did the math between like your family and his family, there was like 45 plus bulls that have been taken up there.
Yeah.
So we know that we were in the right area. For sure we're in the right area.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've taken elk. I've got a nice 5-point bull hanging up in my house that I shot up there. My brother shot multiple elk up there. My dad had shot. You heard all the stories of, oh, we shot one over here, we shot one over there. I've been into this canyon. I've seen them there, but never gotten after them. It's too thick or whatever. And there's a lot of experience, and that was so fun to one to interact with you guys in person and get to know Dustin more and pick his brain and be like, hey,
you guys had a bromance going on for sure.
The funny thing was so you're back to when me and you met. I listened to the podcast. So I was like, oh, cool. And I walk out and I see you and I'm like, dang, look at this guy. He's 6'4", got a nice big beard. Look at this dude. You go up. Unfortunately, my wife was super pregnant at the time, and she's like, we gotta go. And I'm like, hey, love the podcast. I'm the one that talked to Dustin. Happened to run into each other, and it was fun. But yeah, Dustin and I kind of had
you guys have got a lot of experience on that mountain together. And so like I get it. And I was in like kill mode. So I'm like, well, you guys can talk, like, even though I think we're out of like the time that we're supposed to be like finding something. In my mind, I was just like, one's going to step out, one's going to step out, one's going to step out. So there was a couple areas that, I'd walk through it and I could like, it's a very unique scent when you can tell that you're on them. And so the other frustrating thing is like, one, there's the signs that we'd see. And then when you would smell them, two, I'm like, my senses were like, I'm like, okay, something's nearby. And honestly, they probably were super close, but they were just bedded down and we couldn't find them. But,
or they were there at one point or moved through and it was just the right way.
Yeah.
That spot that the three of us went into, the wind shifts in there all the time. And so it's like, I've been in there and it's just, you can smell and you're like, they have to be here. They were here, or they're there. And it's like, and then you walk in and there they are. They're just moving through down to this spot that we kind of ended up meeting at. And then they bump off that ridge down into that big canyon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to address one thing. One, thank you for listening to the podcast. I'm super glad that you took a minute to come up and at least say hello. And you've got the baby now, and life's good, and you've got a good lady that lets you get out and do something that you love. So that's super cool. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Why? I mean, Dustin's like, hey man, like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, dude, don't apologize to me. I was like, I was having a riot because I'd never been in an area like that before. And so it was a new experience. So I was just gobbling it all up. Like, I'm looking and I'm going like, okay, how do I, I'm looking for footprints. Are they fresh? Are they old? there's so many different things that are going on that I discovered, that it's, your mind will play tricks on you too. So anyway, yeah, no, I joke, but you guys, like I said, as you would walk through and we'd be talking, I'd hear you guys talk about, hey, do you remember this place? We call it this. Oh yeah, we call it this. And then there'd be a story that would come up. But it was a ton of fun. I had a blast with you. The one thing that I have got to figure out how to do, I mean, I might need to start taking Ambien with me when we go hunting, is I cannot sleep. I can't sleep. I mean, when we went out Dustin and Jackson and we had gone out for a couple days trying to punch my buck tag. That was rough. I mean, I slept 1 hour that night. I think part of it's just like excitement, wanting to get up and get after it. And then the other part was like Jackson slept in his vehicle. Dustin slept in his truck. I had this tent that I set up. The ground was and we got up there at like 11:30 at night, and it had rained. So like I'm trying to get it set up like in the dark, and it was just this sleeping situation for when the three of us went out was much better. But like you said, like I'm so long, like I can't get comfortable, and then like I go to sit up at night and like smack my head like on the ceiling, and I'm just going. And then like I said, like I have these, and we talked a little bit about it up there, but my mouth will get dry and I'll wake up and it'll put me into like a panic attack. So like I think I'd maybe slept for 30 minutes. I sit up, smack my head on the ceiling on this bunk, and I'm like, I got to get out. And I couldn't get situated, and I finally, you were on the bunk below me. I just like bail off the top, and it's like 4 a.m, and it's just like wham, crack. And then I'm just like, I got to get outside and get some fresh air. And it was cold. It was cold. So I go out. I've just got like I just throw a t-shirt on, throw on my Crocs, and step outside. And I'm just like, come back in. Then I'm like, I'm just waiting. And I think we had the alarm set for like 5 or something. I can't remember what time we were getting up at.
Yeah, I think it was 5 because it wasn't far after. Like,
yeah, I was like contemplating getting back in bed, and I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna sit down here at the little table inside. And
right.
Dustin's like, I didn't hear anything. I slept great.
Slept like a baby in there. Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's the first few hours of sleep for me that I'm out. Like you cannot wake me up. And then once it's like time to wake up, getting close, couple hours,
hey, dude,
I'll wake up to
you hit the sack and were like, you were out.
My wife, my wife is amazing. You're exactly right. She lets me go out and go hunting, do things. But if there's one thing that really bugs her, it's the fact that I can fall asleep so fast. She's like we try to watch a movie, do anything, I'm just like out. That was exactly that. We got in. I'm like, I'm going to bed.
That's like reverse roles when it comes to movies. Like most of the time, it's like, hey, let's sit down and watch a movie. Like the woman's like out instantly. I guess it depends on the movie you're watching, right?
Right. If it's like if
it's a chick
action
flick,
right.
Out. Or it's like my wife's like, why are you on your phone? And I'm like, because the show's dumb.
I have a tendency to really get into those interesting chick flicks because I just don't see what it's going to be, and all of a sudden there's like a total flip, and I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. And she just makes fun of me for it.
What's your favorite chick flick that you've watched? I already know what you're going to say.
The one that I'm talking about that I cannot remember the name of the movie.
Who's in it?
The Wedding Planner.
Oh.
That was the one that I was like.
Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Lopez.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, that's right. She's the wedding planner. He's getting married to another gal.
Mhm.
And okay, all right, yeah. I'm there. All right. Now I know which one we're talking about. But anyway, so okay, we went back. Your first hunt, it wasn't great. What's your most memorable hunt up there that you've had where you've been able to harvest something up there?
So my favorite hunt, I'm being selfish. It's the one where I killed my biggest bull up there. And funny enough, it's you were in the area with me, very close to where I ended up killing my bull.
Where was it? Was it like
The where we went the first night,
okay?
and I kept calling it the Cabela's Meadow,
Oh
which is this
yeah.
big open meadow where you always think
Yep.
like, oh,
Okay.
perfect Cabela's magazine
Yep.
meadow.
Yep.
If I came from the opposite direction and met up with you guys and met in there, but it was on my way from where you dropped me off to where we ended up meeting. There's a few little, I don't know, ridges
Yes.
that you have to cross, and then you come up and there's this burn. The way that I did it the day that I killed this bull is I dropped people off. Like I dropped someone off where you dropped me. I dropped someone at the summit. I dropped another guy in, and we all kind of similar to what we did on that other side of where it's just like we come in and we get on top of the elk because we know they're always in there. And then I ended up going all the way to the bottom, similar like on the far side from that meadow, went around and then came back up. And I was following some tracks. I had at the time my stepmom was with me, and I told her, I said, "Hey, if you see anything, don't even like hesitate to like try to stop me, tell me to do it. Like if you see one, shoot it." Because that's kind of it's just the way that it is up there. You have to be quick on the rifle hunt. They're always moving. Which this was the polar opposite. We're going in there, we're walking, we're like, okay, let's take a break. And all of a sudden I hear some pops and cracks, and I'm like, what the heck? And I cow called. And dude, he just lets out a like nastiest bugle. And I'm like, this is a
When
real
was
bull.
this?
I
Was it
was
like
set.
October?
It was the end of October, or no, the beginning of October. So first,
So right around this time.
yeah, it was like a week from now.
Okay.
This bull comes in and he stops and he's right behind those small 6-7 foot pine tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's super, and I'm like, he stops right behind it and it's just raking, and I can see his antlers. I'm like, holy crap! Like this is a nice bull. Like this is bigger than anything that I've seen up here. And I have my gun up, and this is what's crazy. I shot him with a 270 pump action with open sights. So it looks like it's this old gun. It was my grandpa's. It looks like a shotgun. It's the funny thing. It's like I pulled it out, and the bunch of the guys that are in our hunting group, like, dude, are you hunting with a shotgun? And I'm like, no, it's a 270. It's got a clip. And luckily, the area that I was in was where it's that super thick timber,
Yeah.
close range. Bull comes out, and I'm like, have the gun up. Boom! I shoot, and he just freaking drops. Like, ran 5 feet, nose first, and is sitting there kicking. And I'm just like, yo, like scream. I'm like, I freaking did it. Because little bit of a backstory. We didn't finish the first hunt that I said that I kind of struggled with.
Right.
So that was this other hunt was awesome because no one else was up there. It was like the one year one had the youth tag. So we didn't see any other hunters. And we were into elk 5 days in a row. And it was just the upsetting thing is there was one time we get into this spot, and oh, it's the Cabela's Meadow that I'm telling you about. We hike down in there and let out a bugle, and this bull responds, and they're like, oh, we have to go after him. And so he bugles, we bugle, we just go back and forth playing the game. And then my dad and his best friend at the time were like, we have to go down there. And we're cutting across because we thought we knew where he was. We're cutting across that meadow out in the wide open and look down, and the bull's walking right at us. And I'm 14, and the one thing that I remember, they ingrained this into my head, was take the broadside shot. I was 14 at the time, and I'm like, this bull is dead on staring at me. A big old bull. And I'm like, holy crap. So I'm pulling, and they're both, shoot him. And I'm just sitting there holding. He's looking right at me. And I'm holding him.
Wait for him to turn broadside.
Exactly. And they're like yelling at me. So I start like panicking. And so he turns, and I boom, miss him. I'm like, they're like, what were you doing? I'm like, you guys told me to shoot when it was broadside. So end up leaving there. Next morning, get into some elk, didn't have a shot. And then literally we do the same thing. We go down into that meadow and bugle, and like 3 bulls bugle. And we're like, okay, it's game on. Like, let's play. We're running in there, and there's this nasty bugle over here, and we're like just beelining it straight for this spot, kind of just bumping through the trees. And we get to this opening, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden I get my dad like physically picks me up, puts me over here, and says, there's a bull right there. And I remember pulling up, breathing, boom, and I thought I hit him. Like, I was very positive that I hit him. And go over, and there's no blood. And we're like, what in the heck? And we look all over, and we ended up like, I shot a couple more times, and I was 14. This is where I feel bad. I didn't have a great shot at the time. Didn't see him. And we looked all over, wasn't dead. Last day of the youth hunt, we're driving up the mountain, and what's crazy is we ended up blowing 2 tires the day before. And so we had to call my stepmom and say, hey, there's a set of tires in this town that we're fairly close to. Go pick them up and bring them up to the mountain. So she does. We get going. We're late the next morning, and we're driving, and she's in the truck with us. This is what's wild. She's in the truck with us. We're hauling up to this spot, and she goes, hey, there's the buck that you're after. And my dad like didn't think anything of it. He was like, oh, buck, who cares? We're after bulls. But he ends up like finding a spot, looks over. There's a herd of elk running alongside us. So we jump out of the truck, not like alongside us. They were probably 50 yards into the trees. We could see them funneling through.
Right.
We get out, and they do the same thing to me. Pick me up, put me in the spot, and they're like, shoot that one. And they're all bunched up, and I couldn't see. And they're like, shoot him. And I was like, I didn't know this at the time, but on the youth tag, you can shoot a cow or a bull.
Mm.
And I didn't see the bull. I thought I was looking at a cow, and they were telling me that it was a bull. Anyways, it was crazy. Like, we drive past that spot, and it's like, oh, there's that buck you're looking for.
Mm.
So
I remember that spot when we were coming back down. I think that night is where you had like pointed that out to us.
Yeah, it's right by where you get cell reception. You come around that corner, and it's kind of a straight shot. And yeah, it was so funny. But it's good times. It's fun. But that I ended up missing, didn't kill anything then. And then I shot that bull that I got all excited about. with that open sights 270, and we
Just
ended up
slinging
calling
it
it
from the hip.
pretty much. It was just like boom. No, I I was like, I'm not freaking missing this thing. I've missed too many elk. I've had too many opportunities, and I hit him, and that's why I just screamed like, "Let's
Let's go.
go!"
Oh, heck yeah.
And we ended up it's my redemption bull. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's fun.
And didn't your brother get a bull up there as well?
He did. So we call him Lucky Sucker because I'm where you guys parked after you had dropped me off. I walked in, and there's this little kind of corner that sometimes they'll funnel up through right
Uh-huh.
there and come up and over the top. So I walked in there, and I'm walking around this side hill, and I fell flat on my face opening morning, and I'm like pushing myself up, and I look up, and there's elk running in front of me, and I'm like, holy crap. So I like go to like get one, like rack one in, and I look over and I see my brother. Literally, he gets down on a knee, boom, and he's like, and I just hear, yes. And I was like, he got one, and I'm like looking for it, can't see it, and he's like, I hit it. Starts crying. He's like, I freaking did it. It's like he was 14 at the time, super excited, shot that bull. It was a nice bull. Pack it out, and then 2 years later, he actually ended up drawing the youth tag. And so we're like same thing. We're gonna go up to this spot. We've had luck up there. We've killed multiple elk, and that's that story of where we're driving and all those elk ran in front of us, and that's how we ended up going into that spot that I took you guys into.
Yeah.
And funny thing was, is we followed them. There had to have been 40 or 50 elk in this herd, and they went through. We're following them and get to this spot, and we're like, okay, let's see if we hear anything. Bugle. We ended up sitting for about an hour at that time, and we're like, oh, dang it, they're gone. Like they're long gone. And then out of nowhere, just a bugle goes off, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. So late into the morning, and so we played the game. We get in. We start just sneaking up there. We had learned that if the elk are talking, you don't have to rush into anything. You don't have to freaking bolt after them. Made some mistakes there before, and
Oh
anyways, we
yeah, I
get
got a
in.
mistake that I can share with you in just a minute.
Hey, I think that's 90% of it is making mistakes, and then the 10% ends up coming down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up killing another funky, unique bull, and we called it Lucky Sucker number 2 because it was just he's he's a lucky sucker.
He's a lucky sucker.
So
Yeah, dude, that's the one thing. So, I mean, we've had like Rusty Smith on the podcast, and Dustin, I've talked to him, and I was talking with Cody and just a couple other guys, and they're like, yeah, if you get up early and go like bugle and you get a bull that's responding, like stay in that canyon.
yeah,
And so that spot that Dustin and I went to that morning after you left, like we got up 3:30. We got ready to go, threw our stuff on, and we're like, okay, like let's go. So we go right up to that spot. We get out and we walk in, I don't know, maybe like 80 yards or something. And Dustin just like lets one rip, and like we hear one like immediately like respond back to us. And he sounded like he was a ways away, but he sat and he was like talking to us. So like, I mean, for probably 5 minutes we were like going back and forth. And at one point, like towards the end, I'm like, oh, he's coming down. So we're like, all right, we're just gonna like sit this thing out. And we're like, all right, well, it was freezing again. We're like, let's go
yeah.
back in the truck and we're just gonna wait, and then we'll get our stuff and head out. Did Dustin tell you this?
He did. He told me.
Yeah, and we're walking back, and all of a sudden there was another elk that was like 20 yards from us. So the way we had kind of walked in, we had kind of like scooted down, went inside, and I'm like, hey, like let's go back, get in the truck, warm up, and then once we get closer to sunlight, we'll go out and start talking again. And as we're walking back, we both about freaking pissed our pants because we had turned our lamps off. Like once we got back there, we're like, hey, let's shut the lamp off and let's just talk. So we're like, all right, we're gonna sneak back, and here's the thing is, my eyesight is terrible. I can't find an animal on the side of a mountain for the life of me. I mean, I can see him, but it's not easy. But like my nose, I told Dustin, I'm like, dude, I swear there's like there's elk nearby. And anyway, we're as we're walking back, something it bolts, and I'm just like, in my mind, like I told Dustin, I'm like, we just freaking blew this canyon out before we even got started this morning. And we're like, he's like, did we, like, should we stay? He's like, everybody says like, if you find bulls, just stay. And I'm like, yeah, but dude, we just like literally, it was close. I mean, I would dare say it was less than 20 yards away. Cause I mean, it sounded like it was right on top of us. So we go back, and it's my fault. Cause I'm like, we blew this canyon. I'm like, let's go up to this other, he had this other spot. It was like, here's the other thing with Dustin. Everything's super close. He's like, oh, it's like a 20-minute drive up there. Like 45 minutes later, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, it's just like a little like a half mile in, and then there's just like this, like there's a steep incline, but it's only like 30 yards. And everything with him is like, I'm like, okay, from here on out, it's like times 5. If it's half a mile, it's 3 miles. If it's like a 20-yard steep incline, it's probably like a quarter mile. But anyway, so I'm like, all right, let's drive back up the canyon. So we went up and we stopped along the way a couple times, and like we let out some bugles. Nothing. There was nothing else talking out there. So we get up to his one place where he's been on elk before, and we bugled, and there's like a cool little river that like runs through up at the top of this mountain. And anyway, we get nothing. I'm like, we should go back down. And Dustin doesn't like going fast on that hill. And I'm like, we should go back down. I'm like, I think at a minimum, the one place we didn't stop on the way up is that Cabela's Meadow. I'm like, let's go back down there. Let's go rip one out and see if we can find something. So like I hauled ass back down the mountain. So it took us like 45 minutes to get up there, and I probably got us back to that Cabela's Meadow in like 15.
Yeah.
And so Dustin's like, well, let's just hike in a little bit. Let's get in there and call and see if we can find something. Dude, we hiked down probably like 3/4 of a mile. And then we finally like started bugling, and we're like, nothing. And we just both like, I'm like, we screwed up. We shouldn't have left that one canyon, even though we bumped that one. The other guy might not know, that other bull might not have known it. So then we like, that's the one thing, like going in, I'm slow, but when it's time to go back to the vehicle to go try another spot, like I can haul freaking balls.
It's like horses. They know when you're headed back to the truck. Like when you're back on a horse, they go in. They're just dun 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 dun, dun slow.
Yep, that's me. That's me.
You turn
to a T.
You turn around, and it's like, oh, we're going back to the truck. Okay, let's go.
That's how I lost you guys. I was like, I was just walking. All of a sudden, I turned around, and I'm like, where in the hell did those two guys go? And the walkie-talkie that those ones I bought, they were freaking shit, man. I like immediately returned those, and they're like, "Was something wrong with them?" I'm like, "Yeah, they don't work." They're like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Here, go stand on the other side of Cabela's here." And I just grabbed something last minute, but I'm not going to name them, but they were shit.
I kind of laughed because yeah, when we were trying them, it was like one of them would work, the other wouldn't, and then
Yeah,
it was
and it
the
had one
opposite.
volume, and it had one volume, which was not quiet.
No, all of a sudden, alarm starts going off like halfway through the morning hunt. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, when I'd leave it on, I would like bump it because I had it attached to my bino harness, and I would
Hmm.
like move some way, and like a literal alarm would go off for like it felt like it was 30 seconds. It was probably like 3 seconds, but it felt like it was forever.
It,
And
yeah.
anyway, so then we get back there, like you said. I'm like a horse when it's time to get back to the vehicle, even though like I'm wanting to go try someplace else. Like I can move it, but going in, I'm just like nice and steady. Like I don't want to push anything. So like I'm literally like that, that meadow that you walk through, not the meadow, but as you're kind of heading back up to the meadow, it's kind
Hmm.
of Last of the Mohican-ish, right? I'm like, I want to get back down there. So like I start running. Like I got my bow, like I'm running, and Dustin's like, what on earth are you doing? I'm like, let's get back down there. We gotta go. Let's get back down there. And he's like, drop me off. He's like, I'm gonna drop me off up here. I'm gonna come down up over the ridge. And so I drop him off, dude, and I like haul ass down there, and no communication. Their cell phone service is completely gone on both sides. The um the walkie talkies weren't working for nothing, and he starts down. He goes. We both went in pretty deep and start because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get in there, and I start going up, and we finally get to where we have cell service, and I'm like, I'm not climbing up this because if you head north, it's bold. I'm like, dude, it's Boulder Canyon.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, he's like, I went down, and I'm like, I'm gonna go hike down, and it's like a straight like cliff almost that he had. Like, he's like, there's no way I'm making it up that, and so he has to hike back up, around, and back down. And in that area, I had one elk that was talking to me. So at this point, it's probably like 7:15, 7:30, and I'm like, okay, game on. So like I start climbing up to go because we were gonna push up and meet each other. I'm like, dude, there's no way in hell there's like elk up here.
Right.
I'm like, it's rough. So I'm like, I probably go, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile up, and I'm like gassed, like my legs are burning. I'm like, I'm gonna go back down, and so I went down and started exploring. Dude, the like I found like fresh droppings in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I told Dustin, if we ever go, I think that's kind of like your honey hole.
Yeah. He ended up telling like he told me like where it was roughly and like all these different things, and then finally I'm like, okay. I was like, is this the spot that I told you to go into? And he's like, yeah, it was. And I'm like, dude, I told you. I told you.
Yeah. And
Every time I go in there.
they were there. And I'm like, he didn't even see the evidence that I saw. I took him back in a little bit, and it was a little bit lower down than where I had originally gone in. There was evidence, but it was nothing. I'm like, my head's on a swivel. I'm like, they've got to be here somewhere. I
Yeah.
mean, like I took pictures to show him. It's like, this must have just dropped. But
That's the one thing. If it's cold enough out there and it's still steaming, you know that they're right there.
yeah, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But anyway, like it's a sweet, super sweet area. But I get in there, and I finally started figuring out how to. I was bugling pretty good. Well, finally, we get in communication. He's like, I'm almost to the truck. I'm like, I'm going to start working back, and so I start walking down, and I walk across this father son that was hunting. Did he tell you about that?
He told me that you guys had ran into a father and a son, but
Yeah.
not a ton.
So I come down, and I see those guys, and they said they saw me, and they're like, dude, we've been chasing you for like the last hour and a half. They're like, they're like, we thought for sure you were the bulls that we saw. So they had come up like the night before, and he goes, we were driving up the canyon probably like 10:30, and he's like, we saw two big bulls come right in here. And so one, I bumped one of them. We bumped him when we were on our way back to the truck. And two, like, yeah, it's a sweet little spot. I told Dustin, like, next time we go up there, like, I'm just gonna go set up shop there for like 4 days. Like, I ain't going
Right.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Um,
There's what's funny. So realistically, I have a good idea as to where you guys went in. I ended up running into a local I told you who has a cabin that's down
yeah,
in the bottom of the big canyon. And he ended up telling me the obviously we found that spot and then we told him that's where we like to go and he ended up telling us he puts a trail cam in there and in like a short span of time he ended up having like 1,000+ pictures
jeez.
of he was like there's
That makes
multiple
sense.
bulls and that's the one thing I was like you saw I told you I was like tried to tell Dustin I'm like hey this top half of this mountain is all boulders. I'm like
He said as he got to that mountain, he's like, I remembered Ashton telling me this.
and he told me on the phone he's like you weren't lying when you said that entire top half of that mountain is boulders and I'm like there's a reason that I go into this certain spot or we go this other way and it sounds like you ended up getting into the other spot where they go in and they're moving and you just see
I got into
sign
it.
upon sign and like me I was like I was so mad that I had to leave but I'm like I've got obligations I've got work I've got a young
Yeah.
family and I'm like I hope they go in there and I hope they freaking just smoke one like
Dude, I'm like, I kick myself because that is the one lesson that I was told, and I feared that I had bumped that bowl out. And in my mind now, like it had to have been a bowl, but it was so frustrating, like getting back in there because I'm like, they're everywhere, like everywhere I'm looking, I'm like, there's droppings, there's sign, there's rubs. I'm like that, like I told him, I'm like, and we were so beat up from like the night before and like the other
hmm
stuff that we had done. I'm just like, do we go? And I'm like, nothing was really engaging with this. But when I was back in there, I would just do some like cow calls every now and again. And I
hmm
had one that was talking to me, and it wasn't the father and son because they were back behind me on the way back. And so towards the ridge, I there was like a little meadow. There's a little meadow area in there, and I could hear something moving. I hear like the twigs and branches and sticks breaking, and he let out just like a little grunt, and I'm sitting there and like I knock my arrow, and I just sat there for like 30 minutes, and I kept like I just do like a cow call, just something because I didn't. He wasn't responding to anything else. So I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, if I let like an aggressive one go, I'm afraid that I could like run him out of there because he wasn't responding. But anyway, I sat there and finally I told Dustin, I'm like, if we go up there and just set up shop there, there's no way that if we're there for 4 days that one of us doesn't come out with a bowl.
right and
So,
that's what's funny is I ended up telling Dustin that like
and if
that's
anybody
what I
wants to
usually
know where that location is, just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll drop the pins to you on Onyx. I'm just kidding.
hey if someone pays enough sure let's do it why not right no this
They're probably gonna be like, go
Utah
kill something in there first. Prove it to me.
hey I've yeah it's true
But that's that. Isn't that
uh,
that's the same area where, like, you saw the bulls run across, like, with your family when you were younger, right? Like, don't they kind of
yeah
just like come across that ridge and drop down in there?
yeah because so what's funny is it's this big once you come fully out of that big canyon that we've talked about with 1,000 feet, it just is kind of a flat, rolly, like it just ends up going up to the ridge. And it's like over to, if you're coming up from the bottom, up from Tent City,
Right.
we laugh. If you come up from Tent City, to the left side is where Cabela's Meadow is.
Yep.
Then there's a burn strip where I killed my elk.
And the lake's over
There's
there too.
Yeah, or it's kind of over,
Right.
it's beyond there. And then as you're coming this way, there's two little like ridges, and I was telling Dustin, there's a wallow in this one spot, and then you hit the road, and that's where they'll cross in to that side, and that's where they come from that wallow through this little flat across the road, and then they end up in that spot. And for some reason, they just there's this little shelf that they hide in, and like that's why I heard the bugles in that spot 2 days in a row, and you heard them the next day, and I'm like, I just like this spot because they hold up
Because
in
we
there
were
for
just
some
down below
reason.
that first day, right?
And for some reason, I had this feeling. I was like, I think they're gonna like. I came from the top the morning before, and I'm like, because I ran into another guy. It's funny. His name is actually Ryan as well. Very similar to you, but he's all bald. He doesn't have good. He doesn't have long hair, nice beard. He's completely bald, but he's tall like you. And so, what's funny is I ran into him, and I was like, hey, let's be strategic here. That's kind of the name of the game. I've had a bull bugling in here. If we can bump them to each other, and he ended up doing that. I came from the top again. He went from the bottom, and he's like, it was. He was screaming at me, playing, running back and forth, and so that's when I was like, okay, I bumped him down from the top down to him the next day, so let's go from the bottom. And then lo and behold, like you heard, they were up above me again. So
Yeah. Such is life, man. It's a ton of fun.
yeah,
I had a lot of fun. It's been fun getting to know you a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to getting back out with you again in the future. I think we have a lot of fun out there together, and I appreciate your willingness to impart some of your knowledge.
yeah, I don't I've had to learn it all through I've had to learn it all. And if I could share a little bit of the knowledge that I have and be open and just say, hey, at the end of the day, if someone kills something, if someone gets onto something, that's more fun. Like I've helped plenty of guys kill bulls, and it's it's almost I would almost say it's more fun to help somebody kill something than it is to do it yourself sometimes. Like
Well,
that's the one thing.
I would like to do it myself once before.
Hey, we all do, and like I've got like I've said, I've got a young family. My oldest is 5, and I can't wait to take them out and get them to experience this and see them.
Get
Like
them youth
I
tags.
I know what that's definitely the plan. At that point, we'll see what happens, where our state will be at that point. But I know the second my daughter shoots her first elk, I'm gonna just bawl like a baby because I'm I've got so much emotion and everything, and I cry at the dumbest things. But it's just
Yeah,
the way that it is. My daughter's brought that out of me.
yeah. Dude, I'm with you. I get super emotional. I mean, I don't know that I would over an animal, but I've yet to kill one, so I don't know. I mean, I did have my one kill this year. I got my first kill with the bow. It
Yeah,
went
that was great.
got that chucker. Dustin ranged it. He's like 41 yards. And my boy's like, "No way." I'm like, "Oh ye of little faith." Locked it
Oh,
in,
ye
let the
little
arrow fly, and that thing was dead before it hit the ground.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
good
exactly
eating.
exactly right. I think if you get something in range, dude, and in front of you gives you the opportunity, it's over. Like
Yeah,
the extended, we've got time. We've got up until what, December 15th. No, it's like November 30th for deer, and then December 15th for elk.
Dude, I don't know where guys get the time for it. I mean, this
Yeah,
podcast is not my full-time gig. I mean, I've got a full-time job. I've got this that I'm doing. You know, my son and I got another business partner. We're getting ready to launch another business here at the end of the month. And I mean, it would be great to be like the guys that make a living off going out hunting and
right,
being able to go spend a week, 2 weeks, a month. Um, but I also like realize too is I think the type of backcountry hunter I want to be is the guy that does it off the back of a horse.
I I can agree. I think it's there's certain people where it's like, oh, you know, oh, they go and they kill these bulls, and then all of a sudden you see them and they've got horses. It's like,
Yeah,
lucky them, lucky them. But
yeah. Anthony
I've
and
got,
Russell. I had those two guys on the podcast. They go out and they do it off the back of horses. And
yeah, I remember
I've
them.
got another buddy, Brandon, who's been out. He's been out hunting. He's got a mule. He's got a couple of mules that he goes out. He's like, that mule covers some ground. But yeah, I mean, I do enjoy beating myself up a little
Hmm.
bit. Like day 3 is not so much like, oh, this is a ton of fun. But you know, like that's like the last day that we went out,
Hmm.
dude. By like 9 a.m., we had done 10 miles,
Yeah.
and Dustin's like, again, this dude's depth perception and judgment of distance is like the worst of anybody I've ever met. Um, but that's partially because most of the time when he goes out hunting, he's with Quinn, and Quinn, I guess, is just like a pack mule himself. He just like goes, and so in Dustin's mind, oh, it's not that far, especially when he's
Right.
got me. Just like, I mean, I walk, but dude, that was yeah, that was brutal. And did he tell you he lost his phone up there?
What?
He didn't tell you that?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Last thing. So this, I'll have to send you the video. We're going up this incline. It's probably like this. It's steep,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a good climb. I bet you all in all we probably went up. There was probably man, I'm I'm guessing we walked upwards like total like mile and a half because we were kind of zigzagging up because I'm like there was some like shell rock in that, and I'm going like what are we doing? So we get up there, and as we're getting to the top of this very first ridge, I'll keep it short. I want to do a podcast with Dustin. We could talk about there's without us calling, and we're this time we're like right on the edge of Deseret, right where the
Uh-oh.
guys go shoot out of the back of the truck, right? Um, but we've got bulls bugling. We hear a bull bugling. We get up there talking. Anyway, we start coming, and again, also Dustin's sense of direction is terrible. So as we're coming back down, we get down, we're gassed, we're like we just want to get out of here. At this time, I think it's like 11. I mean, we hiked around up there trying to get on something, find something. We were on signs, we could hear bulls, but the second we would bugle back to them, they'd give us one response, and then it was like the middle finger. They're like, "Well, good luck. Like we don't care enough to leave our cows to come over and talk to you." But we start walking back, and we're probably, I don't know, like a third of a mile from where we came down. And Dustin's like, "I lost my phone," and I'm going, "Where did you lose it? Like, was it on the trail?" And I go, "When was the last time you remember having it?" And he's like, "When we were like sliding down the mountain." He's like, "I took it out and took a picture of you. Got a video of you." Like,
I gotta
again,
see that video.
I'm like a horse. I'm like, we're going. Like, I'm going. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we start. we start back, and he like, we drop our packs, sit them off by the river, and we're like, let's just take a minute. I'm like, we'll go. And he's like in a panic. He's like, I just bought that damn phone, because his other one had like, he had dropped a 40-pound dumbbell on it, and it was like
Oh,
bent. So he just gets a brand new phone. Anyway, he's back there. He starts climbing up, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, this is where we came down. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, we're maybe like 100 yards from where we took our backpacks off. Like, we're nowhere near. And so I'm like, I remember there was an elk skeleton, like a head and some ribs and stuff. So I'm like, we got to find that. And once we get that, we're probably like 100 yards away. So I start walking, and he's like in these rocks, like climbing his way over. I'm like, Dustin, come down, walk back with me, and I'm gonna guide you. So we get back down, and I find like the area, and he probably spent like 45 minutes up there. He's like, I'm like, nope. I was going to go up there with him, but I'm like, let me sit down and guide you. Because again, his sense of direction and depth perception is awful. Like, it's the worst of anybody. Like, I can't believe he's ever gone out by himself and made it home. So,
oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I'll tell it to his face. Anyway,
hey, I gotta hear that.
We go down, and I'm like, let me kind of guide you. And so I'm kind of guiding him. I'm like, no, I'm like, because I would look back and check on him, and I have like a pretty good like recall on where he was. And so he gets to a part, then he goes up over the ridge, and so like I step back as far as I can go, and then I'm in the river, and have to like try and like walk across it. And right. I'm like, just stay on this angle, and like just go. And he's up there, and I'm like hollering. I mean, he was. I'll have to. I think I have a video of it. He was like, I mean, he was up like a decent chunk of the ridge where it had like starting to like level back out again. So this monster ridge that we'd hiked up, we'd gone up, come down. He then went back up, and I'm like, if you said you took a picture, like, you've got to be roughly in this area. And then I holler at him. I'm like, I hate to say it, man, but I'm like, I don't think you're finding that phone. And I'm like, your best bet is like, I'm going to have to come up there and like retrace your tracks. And
I'm going to have to come up and do it for you.
Well, he's like, give me just a minute. So like, I don't know, it's probably like a minute later. He goes back. He's like, he's got it. He found it. I'm like, we can't find a 700-pound animal on the side of a mountain, but you can drop your freaking iPhone and we can go back and find that. I'm like, good night. Like,
so funny.
Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. So anyway, well,
funny enough, I could tell you one quick story up there. It's very similar to what you're talking about. Last day of the hunt, my dad ended up shooting a bull, and he's like, I'm going to just cut it all up, do all the prep work, because it was the evening hunt. We're like, we'll come back and grab it in the morning. We go up there, come back down, and we're like 100 yards from the truck. And it's like, it was a couple miles to the elk. And all of a sudden my brother goes, I can't find my pistol. And we're like, dude, are you kidding me? And he's like, no, I can't find it. And so we're like, where is it? And he's like, I think it's by where the elk was. We're like, oh my gosh. So we hiked all the way back up there, and literally it had fallen right on top of a cow turd. It was like perfectly just laying flat on this cow turd. And it's like, if you want to say it, it's like, yeah, this is the bullshit that you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
But
Well, anyway, Ashton, man, hey, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been fun getting to know you. If people want to follow you on Instagram, what's the best way for them to find you?
I think it's just Ashton Oborn. Yeah,
All
Ashton
right.
Oborn.
So if you want
That's
to
all
go
that it
follow
is.
him, type in Ashton Oborn and go look for that mug. You'll find him. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having me on. It's been fun getting to know you as well. And I
Yeah,
look
yeah.
forward
We'll have
to
more stories to come in the future, I'm sure.
yeah, I
But
can't wait to take a picture of you over your first big game kill.
that's
So
what I'm talking about. There's still hope that we're going to get it done this year. I'm still holding out hope, but yeah, we've got. I'm going to let myself mentally recoup a little bit before I get back out there and get after it. So, anyway,
for
you guys,
sure.
Ashton, thanks for following. Go give him a follow on Instagram. We'll make sure that we post a link to it in the show notes as well. Again, thank you for listening to the Hunt Stealth podcast. We are the fastest growing hunting podcast in the nation. So, anyway, stay safe and God bless.